Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome again to our lunchtime series of webinars here at the Ireland chapter of PMI. My name is Katrina Collins, as you know, and I am the events director. Today, you can see on screen with me, we have Simona Bonghez to speak to us about lessons learned in Agile transformations. You will be forgiven for thinking that we have gone left of field with a discussion off topic on coffee, but I think that Simona has used a very clever simile to help foster an understanding of the importance of the journey towards agile transformation. She is an author and an international speaker and has years of experience built up in the area of agile transformations, so she is well placed to speak to us today on this topic. Now, before I hand over to her and let her take it away, we are back to using our Menti polls again, guys. So today, Simona is going to intersperse her presentation with the Menti poll. So please do grab your phone, go to menti.com on your browser and use the code that you see there, 13460749. Simona will also have that on the screen as she goes through the presentation today. Any questions? Pop them in the chat for me. I will be keeping an eye out for them. And Simona does also plan to keep some time at the end for Q&A. So Simona, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me. Hello to everyone. I'm really happy to be today here with you and to share some of our experiences earned through painful agile transformations. And I'm going to share my screen and hopefully the technology works with me. I'm quite blonde, so you could expect surprises.
Surprises are always good. That's great. That looks great on the screen, Simona.
Okay, and please let me know that you are here by reactions on your phone or using your laptop. I would like to see if you are there and ready to interact with me, because I do not want to have this presentation only me speaking to you, but it would be nice if you can contribute to it as well. So I see some of the reaction. Can I get a kitten, please? I'm not really a cat lover, but kitten on the screen. They really, oh, okay, thank you. I can see the kittens coming. Okay, so for those of you who didn't have the chance to connect, these are the information. You can see the code on the top of our screen, so you can see the code, and we can go. I am always amazed when I participate to a presentation that we learn a lot about the speaker, but we do not know almost anything about the audience. So, dear audience, we would like to understand who are you, and therefore I kindly ask you to answer to some of the questions which are going to pop up here on the screen. Let me see if they do pop up, which is not the case, but yeah. The first question, the easy one, is where in the world are you today? So just let us know the city, the town, the village you are now today. Let's see, Dublin. And as you know, this is the Wordle kind of app. So the size of the letters, it is proportional with the number of people coming from those cities. Okay.
See, I did not know that, Simona, and I've been using Menti for a year. I've always wondered that. That's fascinating. So basically, the bigger the word is, the more people have actually given that answer.
Yeah, given that answer, yeah.
You learn something new every day.
Nantes, Brittany, France. Oh, good. Happy to see. You see that you can have some. I should contribute also and write Bucharest to be more internationally. New Jersey, really? Welcome.
It's great to see people from outside of Ireland. That's really one of the positive things about the virtual. We are all desperate to get back to face for sure and have some meetings where we can actually get together again. But that has been great. It means that when people are, are outside of the country, they can still engage with the chapter. So it's brilliant.
Yeah. So, and if you see me looking to my right-hand side, this is because I have two screens. So I'm looking to see the results. Okay. Thank you so much for the contribution. Now, of course, that we would like to know which industry do you represent? Because in most of these agile discussions, we do have a lot of people from IT and C, but it's interesting that in the last years, more and more industries are interested about this topic. So let's see. And we already have engineering, financial, public sector, and IT and C. You can see IT and C. Oh, financial bigger than IT and C? Cannot believe this. Okay, so yeah, the IT and C is growing. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yes, if you want to be represented, now is the time to pop it in there for sure. Nothing on it. Yeah, it's interesting. I think that would be a fairly standard mix that we would get actually. IT and C should be fairly big. And financial, I mean, we've got a big financial sector based in Dublin as well. So
okay, and now of course that sorry. Yeah, we do have also consulting. Okay, so and now let's see what is the level of understanding related to Agile. So how familiar are you with these approaches? And it doesn't matter if it's Scrum or Kanban or XP or maybe disciplined Agile. Let's see. Because then I can slightly adapt also the level of depth I'm using in my presentation. Okay, so we do have people who are using it, maybe not fully, but maybe some of the concepts, and we have also people using it day by day. Okay, that I'm happy that we do not have people on the first category. It would have been challenging. Okay, thank you. Now you know more about you as an audience. There is a disclaimer that I would like to start with. You can see the different rows, the different access rows that are on the screen. And my question is, would you use the same transportation device when going on those roads? Of course you won't. Although, yes, you can use the bicycle on the railway, but I do not think that your back is going to be happy with it. So, and this is what actually I wanted to say with it, that as you will need to use different transportation device on different type of roads, this is how we should use different approaches for different projects, different project environments, different complexity, a different way to understand the way of working and the requirements from our clients. So I do advocate to embrace Agile principles, but it doesn't mean that I would recommend it to use it in any kind of circumstances. We still have projects for which the waterfall approach is the best approach. Now, in the last 2 years, we heard more and more about Agile, more than in the last decade. The pandemic accelerated this interest even more. And the reason, we still dream about magic wands or recipes that would suddenly improve our life, unexpectedly increase our productivity, and I don't know, make people to happily embrace and accept the change. So sorry, I cannot stop thinking about fairy tales. I'm speaking to people from Ireland, and for me, Ireland is the land of great stories, amazing fairy tales. And now, please take it as a compliment, because I'm coming from a country of vampires, bloody stories. So back to reality, back to our coffees. Let's say that you heard about Agile. The first thing you would do, at least I would do, is to Google it and to find out what good is Agile, what does it do, and this is now the question that we should always answer first. What would be the advantages of doing something, the advantages of embracing a different type of mindset? And now this is a report that I would really recommend you to check. I came up with the results of the 14th annual State of Agile report, but if you will go these days to check this document, you will see that usually in May every year, a new report is issued. So the 15th annual report should be issued these days. It is not yet, but it should. And it gives you a very good perspective about how people see Agile. Those who are using it, those who are thinking to, I don't know, to taste it. And the reasons for adopting Agile for most of us who would like to change the way of working are related to time to market, accelerate product or results delivery, and to better responding to the changing priorities in our lives today. Now, of course, that what you dream about is to increase productivity. So overnight, your teams will work better, faster, cheaper, and everything is going to be beautiful. And of course, there is an expectation also to be better understood within the company. So a better alignment between different departments, usually between the IT and business. So indeed, these are the most important expectations people would have. But I think that it's also important to see if these expectations are met after implementing, because these are the reasons for which you seek for a new approach. But what are the results of implementing Agile? And this is now, of course, a question for you. What do you think that are the most important benefits that are achieved after implementing this new way of working? After struggles, because of course that it won't be easy. So what I would like you to do is to reorder or rank according to their importance all these possible benefits that one would achieve after such an important endeavor. And I see that some of you already answered. I will wait maybe a few more seconds. So after seeing all the benefits or the expectations, what are the real benefits? What do you think that people report as achievement after embracing the Agile mindset and after applying the practices? Okay, it seems that more flexible organization is on the top of the list. Then improved collaboration, time to market, increased productivity. It's only on the 4th place. Increased project visibility. Some changes now. Okay, so maybe 5 more seconds. Okay. So thank you everyone for contributing. It's so nice to feel that you're not alone in front of your computer. So let me show you what are actually the real benefits, the benefits that were reported. As you see, there is, as always, a slightly disalignment between the expectations and the results. And you see, you ranked project visibility. It was the last in your ranking. However, is the second, because ability to manage changing priority, you got this. You got this one. I have to admit, you got this. Project visibility is on. It's ranked the second. There is an improvement between the different departments, and yes, time to market is one of the earning points. But where is the productivity? And if you check the report, you will see that it's on the 6th, ranked the 6th between the first 10. It is there, but there is no such a huge increase in productivity. Why do you think that something like this happens? And there is a theory that explains actually what happens. And this is Satir change model. I'm not sure if you can see my yeah, you can. I think that you can see my mouse. Yes. And take a look on this. Take a look on the screen. It is clear that doing business as usual, we do have a certain level of performance. Otherwise, we are not paid. Probably. So we do have a certain level of performance, but what is expected from us usually is to have this huge increase in performance, see the new status quo. And usually the management comes up with a good idea about how this increasing of performance can be achieved. Now, what it's in most of the cases forgotten or not considered is that as soon as you introduce a foreign element, it's called here, but it could be a new way of working, new practices, new tools, then it happens that, well, maybe not chaos in all the situation, but just imagine that people, they are resistant to change. They do not understand why they should use the new tools. They do not understand always how to integrate the new tools, the new techniques, the new way of working within the existing procedures and processes of the company. They start getting the idea, they start getting the understanding of how to integrate everything, and through practice, they become better and better, and in time, then they can get to this new status quo where the performance is quite higher. But what we need to understand is that it takes time. So no magic wand, no fairy tales. It takes time. Allows us to understand everything and to be able to practice and integrate. And I think that maybe it's time to explain the title of my presentation. Yeah, I know it's kind of late, but better later than never, says an old Romanian saying. Now, the comparison is not mine. I read it in the foreword of a book, but I like it. I like it a lot. So it explains very, very nicely the difference between agile adoption and agile transformation, two terms that we tend to use exchangeably, but they are not. So let's assume that you would like to be able to prepare a good coffee, especially during the lockdown. Probably it happened to you. You learn how to use the coffee machine. You learn which kind of beans you prefer, and after a trial and error period, you realize that you are able to prepare a decent coffee. It's not the best coffee in the world, but it's a decent one. And this is somehow also what we call agile adoption. You learn how to use specific concepts, tools, practices from the agile world, the agile approaches. You use them in your projects and you realize that you can benefits. The benefits are not huge. You won't change your whole organization. It's not a revolution. It's a baby step evolution in which you use some of the things that could bring some value to you. Now, some of us are not happy with a decent coffee. They would like to become the best barista in the town. They take classes of barista. They learn about beans, about cultivating those beans, about, I don't know, 1 million of stuff. And they manage to deliver in the end the best coffee in the town. Okay, maybe not the coffee that you can have at fourth floor coffee, but close to it. Okay, and this would be the agile transformation. It's a transformation that affects not only your day-by-day practices, but the whole mindset. You are not preparing the coffee. You are thinking in terms of coffee. So you are not just borrowing some of the agile concepts, but you think agile and you become agile. Now that we clarified this this difference, is it mandatory to go through for an organization to go through this whole transformation? Well, sometimes the disruption could be huge. And you remember the graphic that I shown to you? And as much or as deep the transformation is, the longer time it requires. So do you have the time to wait till the end when this transformation will bring all the benefits you expect, or you would like to have the benefits sooner, and therefore a decent coffee, it's all that you need, which comes with not the highest level of satisfaction, but a good level for you. Now, for some of the coffee addicted people, maybe you would like to go for the transformation. There is no recipe that which is the best for you. The truth is that you should accept that for some of us, the agile adoption worthwhile. For some of us, the transformation is the one that will bring the expected benefits. Now, there is also something that we learn throughout our discussions with the companies, working for the companies. And there is something that I was always frustrated of when I was a child. Do this because I said so. That's only a source of frustration. it is really the end of the discussion, and you do not want in your organization that this is the end of your discussions. And therefore, you should explain the people going through an adoption or a transformation why do you do it? And the why is at least as important as what's in it for me. And I'm going to tell you a story about a company, actually a very wise company I worked with in the last 2 years. They went through an agile transformation, but it was a very nicely, strategically defined agile transformation. It was a transformation in waves. They started with only 3 teams, the most enthusiastic people in the company. Then the second wave involved 5 teams, and a little bit later 8 teams. And they ended up with the third wave by including everyone in the organization in this transformation. But what they were very proud of was the fact that first the top management team went through an agile training. They learned about the possible benefits, and they even visited some other companies to learn about their journey in terms of transformation. So what they did was to define the why for their companies. They came up with 4 main objectives, with 4 main benefits for this transformation. And they, of course, communicated within the organization. What was funny in all this story is that when we ask in the first wave, the team members, so why do you think that the organization is going through such an important transformation? They said, we have no clue. The management was really, really surprised, but we told them so many times. And telling something to the people is not enough. You need not only to tell them, but also to explain. And sometimes not even the explanation it's enough. So what I would like to say is that you need to identify the why. That's utmost important. You need to continuously communicate, but you also need to check if people understood. Because when we told the team members, but they communicated, that show it in all the meetings in the company, they said, yeah, we thought that is just corporate blah, blah. And this is the perception. It's corporate blah, blah. So I think that one of the most important things when you start such an important organizational change is to really not only to define the why, not only to constantly and continuously communicate it, but also to show them the end results. And what worked very well with this company I told you about, with this wave transformation, is that those who went through the first wave, they became the advocates for the second wave, and later the agile coaches for the third wave. So they were able to explain to the second wave and to show them it works. It worked for us. See our results. Yes, Jira is complicated. Jira will never work. But let me show you that it worked for us. It was easy. We have all the, it wasn't easy, but we have all our user stories there. Not only the user stories, we have the epics, and the epics are linked to the strategic objectives of the organization. So yes, it's important to define the why, but it's important also to show some quick results or the quick wins of this kind of transformation. There is one more thing that it was interesting for us to realize, that while most of the companies start with a training, this is not enough. Now, when I say it, even to me it sounds obvious, but somehow at the level of the company, it's not. They think, in most of the cases, they are convinced that if you train your people and they learn about Agile, they will be able to immediately apply it. The difference is between reading the rule book for a game, for a board game, and start playing it. And do you remember when, I don't know, last time when you were able to meet your friends face to face and play a board game, that you read the rule book, but when starting to play, you realize that I don't know, let me check again, and you go back to the rule book, and in most of the cases you go back to YouTube and you try to understand how others actually played the game. So just by having a training in the company, it's not enough. You need someone who is with you, maybe not day by day, that would be a waste of resource, but someone who can help you to understand, who can show it to you. Otherwise, it becomes a constant struggle, and you do not want a struggle in the beginning when there is a little bit of enthusiasm. The enthusiasm will drop fast if there is no one there to help you with it.
Simona, I think it's an excellent analogy, because you learn, I think, maybe mostly by doing. So the guidebook or the rule book is obviously very useful, but you're such a clever analogy, because there's no way you would read the rule book and then suddenly just become an expert. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Thank you. I do like the analogies. I do like the comparison. Okay. May I come up with one more? It is related to the why. Okay, so dear audience, bear with me. I only tell you this because Katrina asked me. Okay, so Katrina, it's actually to be blamed. Let's assume that you have a dog, or for you cat lovers, a cat in the middle of your room, and you throw a ball towards them, a small, cute ball. What do? The cat and the dog? Now you're thinking about it, and I am sure that you come up with the right answer. They are chasing it. They are start playing with it. But now you imagine that you is the one who is in the middle of the room and the ball is thrown towards you. What do? I highly doubt that you start chasing it. You will immediately search for the cause, for the reason. How did the ball get there? What is the cause? And it is in our human nature. We are genuinely interested in the cause of things. And this is why it's so important to come up with the reasons for doing something. Usually people, when they understand the reason for which they are asked to do something, they are much more easy to be convinced to do it. Okay, so Katrina, was it too much?
No, it's very good. Very good.
Okay, thank you. So, and it was addressed to both dog lovers and cat lovers.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And the reason for which I'm showing this all or nothing is that in many of the cases we encountered, the companies they said, yeah, this is extremely interesting. Let's move all of us and use Agile. And I'm not sure that this is something that you can afford to come up with such an organizational change, because adopting or transforming Agile, it's indeed an organizational change. And it comes with a lot of struggle, a lot of resources, a lot of communication, and of course, they will affect the way of working and the results of the people. So I would always be very careful when I decide to start with the whole company and not with one of the departments. And I would like to show you. Now I know that it's a very crowded slide. But yes, it's our transformation, adoption transformation framework. But what I wanted to tell you that is in some of the cases, you really can have this linear approach in which the departments or the company comes to understand, so to have a level of awareness about the Agile, and then they start thinking about maybe borrowing some of the elements of the Agile, and then they move towards ability. So they go through some training sessions, they learn, and they are able to apply in their day-by-day work, and then maybe they go one step further to the promote and then to the transform stages. But why I'm showing you this this very crowded slide is to show you that in one of the cases, this is a specific company we are very proud of in terms of their evolution towards Agile. We started with the IT department. It's not an IT company. It is a company from retail. They started, they had some really blocking situation within the IT department. So they started to think about moving this IT department towards Agile. They started their journey, and when they consider that they are here in the abilities part of my chart, then they decided, okay, let's involve also the other departments of the business, because as you know, the IT is not working by themselves. They are always related. They are always linked to the other business departments. So they said, okay, our level of Agile understanding and practice, it's quite acceptable. Let's try to involve in our journey also the business departments. And now just imagine that in the company right now, we have departments which are in the promote area. Some of them are already in the abilities, while others, they start learning about about Agile. And what is extremely nice is that those who are already on the promote side, they teach the other colleagues, they tell them about the quick wins. They can prove within the company that Agile works. But again, I come back to my idea. This is a company who embraced Agile. They adopted Agile, but there are still projects in which they apply the good old waterfall approach. Is this good? Of course, that is good. For some of the projects, the waterfall is the best approach. Now, what is really tricky when you do something like this and you have different departments of the company, different divisions of the company being at different maturity level in their Agile journey, there is a need for someone to oversee this whole process. And it is very similar to any kind of organizational change initiative, in which you always have a change team, which is responsible with overseeing the whole transformation process. And this is also valid in our Agile adoption or transformation journey. Again, a very crowded slide, I know, but you do not need to read all of those things here. I only wanted to brag about what we can do. I'm joking, of course. So what you see here is a detailed description of an Agile Adoption or Transformation governance. ACT stands for Agile Champions Team. You can name this structure as you would like. I would really avoid to call it Agile Excellence, whatever, because it sounds as a, I don't know, competence tower in the middle of nowhere. So it's not very very agile. The Agile Champions team is usually responsible to oversee, to monitor, and to guide the agile adoption throughout the organization. And basically, they are also responsible to somehow ensure the alignment between the agile adoption and the organization strategy. We strongly recommend that this Agile Champions team is very close to the CEO or COO or the top management of the company. There are companies where we know that a new role appeared almost overnight, and it is called Chief Digital Transformation Officer. So if you have a Chief Digital Transformation Officer, then that is the role who would somehow sponsor this Agile Champions team. Now, why it's important to have this kind of structure? First, because it's the responsible with the why. They will communicate, why do we do this? They will help identify the quick wins within the organization, and they will support them to disseminate this information throughout the company. And of course, that they will be the ones who will have the adoption or transformation roadmap, which becomes the transformation backlog. They will prioritize and they will follow up to see that everything goes as smoothly as possible. Well, and now it's the time for you to help me out because we are close to the end of my presentation, and I still need you to contribute to it. We often hear that Agile is for software development. Only for software development. And now I really need your support to help me identify. So let's work together and let's come up with characteristics of projects that would require an agile approach. What would you say? What would you think that would be those characteristics that really require an agile approach? Can you just write a few words and send it to us so that we can get project with unclear requirements? Perfect. If you know the Stacy matrix, where we have the requirements and the technology or our way of working, if the requirements are clear, understood, and agreed with the stakeholders, and we know exactly how to work, we know the platform, we know the infrastructure, then there is an area there which is best suited for waterfall projects. But if we go out of this area with unclear requirements, great comment, thank you, then we are in the area of the agile projects. Projects with little regulatory input. Well, believe me that I've seen projects with, especially in the financial sector, which is a highly regulated sector. Nevertheless, we hear more and more financial institutions going towards agile, and they work with a highly regulated environment. But still, it is possible. Projects where developers are in-house, yes, it works. In in any kind of software development projects works. But how about if we go out from software development industry? Iterative change, yeah. We do need such an approach when we know that changes will come throughout the project. Where delivery is possible in phases, yes. When you can deliver, in Agile we call it the minimum viable product. When we can deliver something like this, yes. Get to market quickly in a fluid competitive environment, yes. And this is not only something that happens in the software development industry. Yes, the minimum viable product. I can see requirements can change from original scope, multifunctional teams, fast delivery, and then incremental. So you see, if we think about, there are many characteristics that would benefit from an agile approach. Thank you so much for contributing. Now I know I'm not alone here. Okay, let me also add some of the characteristics that I identified. Fast changing deliverables, which you mentioned already. Projects that do not have clear requirements. Projects that require frequent customer interaction. When you need the feedback, and then you would like to incorporate the feedback from your stakeholders. Projects focusing on innovation, which need constant improvements. Projects with a lot of interdependent tasks. Someone mentioned the multidisciplinary teams that need to work closely together. And project that requires prototyping. And this is not only in the software industry. So you see that there are many characteristics which are actually possible to appear in many other industries and not in only software development. And this is why we really hear all these new topics about Agile in these days. There are more and more industries interested in earning the benefits of such an implementation. But of course that it's not easy. And this is the last question for you, dear project management experts and project managers. We know that there are challenges in any kind of organizational change. We encounter challenges, but what do you think that are the most important? And again, I'm asking you to rank these which are available here. So just think of these challenges, and what do you encounter usually in your day-by-day activity? So do not think about challenges in general, but the challenges that you may encounter in your organization. Okay, and we are waiting for your answers. So I'm patiently waiting here. It seems that the first one on the top of the leaderboard is the lack of managerial support. Oops, general resistance to change. Fighting with this managerial support would be nice. So it seems that the fight is between the general resistance to change and the lack of managerial support, and followed by the organizational culture at odds with the agile principles. Then the inconsistent practices and lack of skills and experience, which it seems that we recognize that you can always come up with a solution with the training for the lack of skills or experience. So you can help on this area, but it's much more difficult to get help for the managerial support if it's missing, and for the general resistance to change, which is in our human nature. Okay, so remember that you considered in your cases as being the managerial support, missing managerial support as being on the first place, and then general resistance to change, and then on the third you have the organizational culture not accepting agile. Let me show you what is the situation in the worldwide, because what is nice is that in this annual agile state of report, there are people from all the industries from all around the world answering to this question. And for them, the challenges experienced to adopting or scaling agile are general organization resistance to change, not enough leadership participation, so you got it. Okay, and then yeah, we have the inconsistent practices across organization. I especially like the topic of organizational culture at odds with agile values. And if the Ireland chapter will invite me once again, maybe somewhere in the future, then I will tell you about our experiences with organizational culture and how we manage to fail and succeed in some of the cases. So with such huge number of challenges, you can realize that there is no finish line. And actually, this is the beauty of the agile mindset, that it takes over the Kaizen concept of continuous improvement. So there is no need for a brilliant intelligence to realize that this cuts off any chance of finish time. There is no if it is continuous, it means that you will constantly find ways, new ways, methods, or options to improve your processes, to increase the level of knowledge and the skills of your teams, or improve the ways of collaboration or the tools that you use. Agile transformation cannot stop, as it would contradict the very concept it preaches. And therefore, becoming agile, it's not a goal that you reach by, I don't know, crossing a finish line. Becoming agile, it's a continuous evolution to which you actually do not want an end. You just want to go further and further. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was our topic for today. I think that we have only a few minutes left, so I'm really sorry to. I get very enthusiastic when I talk about this agile transformation, so I'm open to questions.
And Simona, yeah. So guys, pop any questions that you have. I know you can use the Menti poll there with Simona, but
but there are no questions here.
And you can pop them into the chat here as well, guys, on the stage. Personally, so like last week we actually had a webinar on the topic of lean program management. So in other words, applying the principles to a program level rather than a project level. And it's quite interesting, and it's interesting to see that the struggles they're consistent across the board, that it is. But I like what your statement there is, that becoming agile is an evolution. There isn't a finish line. It's something where we have to. It's a journey that we're on. It doesn't necessarily have a destination a terminus, as we say, in a train station. So, and I think maybe that's one of the challenges that all of us, maybe, as I'll speak for myself, as a traditional project manager who came up under the waterfall methodology, there is a finish line. There is an end. There's a goal that we achieve when the project is closed and we have the celebration and we go out for lunch or we go out for dinner. That it maybe in our mindsets, we find it maybe difficult to understand that we have to find a different way to mark the accomplishments and the achievements. It may be not just senior management that are struggling to understand an agile transformation. Now, guys, I don't, Simona, I don't see questions coming in there. Do you have any there?
No, not yet.
Well, do you want, if you let me share the
It means
screen?
it could mean two things. Either that it was very clear and people do not have any kind of question, or I managed to confuse everyone. And let's hope that it's not the second one.
Well, from the comments coming in the chat throughout, the analogies were very helpful to help understand. And it is, like, for me, like I was saying, it is that whole, the difference between, you don't just flip a switch and become agile, and that's probably not even what you're trying to do. You're trying to adopt it and you're trying to transform your organization. It's quite interesting. Will you let me share my screen maybe while we wrap up?
Yes.
Stop.
So
your last chance, guys, to ask questions. But Simona, we may just harken back to the conversation there about the agile discussion that we had last week, which was on lean program management. That we definitely need to look at having maybe a panel discussion on agile. So we could definitely look to bring you back and maybe get involved in that, particularly in the area you said there about organizational change. And Maureen is just asking a question there before I share my slides. Is there a way to replay the presentation? So I guess while I'm wrapping up, I'll let everyone know that as usual, if you check in to our Ireland chapter website in the next couple of days before the weekend, the recording will be available, so you'll be able to actually play it back. Maureen's just saying there's very many good points to absorb. So thanks for that feedback, Maureen. And I think there's a lot that's of value that it's probably just helping that conversation when we're getting frustrated with agile transformations to understand that it doesn't happen overnight and that it is a continuous conversation that we need to be having. So now I think you guys can, excellent, you can start seeing the screen there. So as usual, before we close out, I always let you know that we have the PDU for all of our members. So in the next couple of days, again, I will make sure that your PDU for this session, and it's one technical PDU, is auto-registered for you. So you will get the email directly to your own membership account. So you'll be able to see that, and hopefully that will help you towards your certification upkeep. And as I mentioned there, in response to Maureen's question, the recording should be up and running in the next couple of days as well, and you'll be able to get the link to that. Okay, so Simona, there's a couple of comments coming in, people thanking you for the presentation. So I think Agile is very topical for us. It's a subject that's very of great interest to our members, and there are a lot of our members that are working towards the various certifications as well as working within their organizations to transform as well. So thanks to everyone for joining us. And Simona, I shall leave the last word to you. So thank you for joining us, and I'll let you close us out.
Thank you. And I really hope that you enjoyed it. And if there is something that I can help you with, just send me a question. I am on LinkedIn. It would be great to meet you there as well.
Perfect. Okay, guys, thank you very much. And we will see you again next week for our next webinar in the series. Okay, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. Bye-bye.